Today we're going to look at how people are building the AI systems that run their business for them. I imagine you've been hearing about these AI agents that are doing real business tasks for people, and I built the exact same system that they're talking about. And I use it every day to run my own business. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you why implementing AI systems like these matters right now, what an AI operating system is, how I personally use mine, and how you can get started in building your own. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm an ex-software engineer, and I transitioned into building with AI. I help small business owners implement these AI systems into their business. Now let's get into it and explore the AI operating system. First, let's talk about what the average Tuesday looks like for an entrepreneur. They get up, they open their laptop, and they check on the business. They spend a couple hours seeing where all the KPIs land, where their business stands, and what needs action doing today. They continue working throughout the day because they're alone in their business. They don't have anyone to help them. And so they spent the next 8 to 10 hours working on their business. Then they go get dinner. And maybe they spend a little more time after dinner working again. They couldn't go to the gym. They didn't get any rest. And they couldn't spend time with their family. They've been thinking about hiring, but they don't even have the time to go and do that because they're so swamped. But I'm mentioning this now because AI has taken over and it now can actually do the tasks for you. So keep this in mind because I want you to picture what the next 6 to 12 months looks like without you doing anything and there's no change. Because you are the real bottleneck in your business right now. Everything runs through you, you make every decision, and you do every task. And this is what's called the operator trap. It's the classic line of you work in the business rather than on it. And since you are working in the business, you can't find the time to do the higher leverage tasks that actually grow the business. This is the larger networking, the better strategy, and generally you're stuck doing the day-to-day tasks that anybody could do. And so I go back to AI because hiring isn't the only solution to get your time back anymore. AI can now take over business tasks for you. And if we look back at hiring, it has more complicated problems to worry about than AI does. Firstly, you have to train somebody on the stuff you want them to do. You have payroll to worry about. And once they get integrated into your business, you have to worry about them leaving you in the same spot you started in. AI, on the other hand, holds the actual system where it would leave with the person. And so what that means basically is that AI can do the repetitive work that you would hire somebody for at a fraction of the price, and it listens exactly to what you tell it. Also, it can't ever leave because you own the whole system. And so yes, AI can do the tasks, but how does that actually work? Well, you've probably seen a whole bunch of different AI solutions now, but you don't know what to make of all of them, and it's left you confused. But that's the exact 5-layer system I'm about to walk you through. This isn't just another tool to put on your tab, nor is it another hire to train and worry about. It's an entire AI system that knows your business. And the fact that it knows how you operate is what's going to help you get the most value out of it. This isn't just a tool that you buy off the shelf, because when you buy a whole bunch of random tools, they don't compound. Everything is scattered. Some of them you don't even use and you're still paying for them, and nothing works together. You need a system. Just like in any real business, tasks, yes, they get things done, but a system makes it efficient. When one task gets items ready for the next task can start operating quicker. And so a system is what makes AI actually drive measurable impact over the tools. When the tools connect to each other and start talking to each other, it becomes the difference between AI doing tricks for you and it actually working for you. AI without the system doesn't actually give you the result you want. And so the exact system I use and build is called an AI operating system, and it consists of 5 layers. Firstly, context. Context is the layer that allows AI to know the business, know the owner, and have actual goals and strategy to follow. The next layer is data. This allows AI to know the business communications and the KPIs in real time. The next layer is intelligence. This allows AI to give you real valuable insights and strategy notes around the state of the business. The 4th layer is automate. This is what you think of when you hear the AI automation or the AI workflows. It's the AI that runs repetitive tasks without you. And finally, the 5th layer, this seems a little bit out of place, but the 5th layer is build, and that's the actual time you get back to build the business. Since the AI can now handle tasks for you and gives you real strategy, you get the time back to work on the business. But how does each layer actually show up in a real business? Well, for context, these are the real files that hold your business so AI isn't generic. You can think your business strategy, your business goals, all that kind of stuff. For the data layer, every great entrepreneur tracks their business KPIs because they know the data is what's going to make them able to make informed decisions based on provable numbers, how long and hard it takes to actually find that data and make sense of it. And this is where AI can do that for you. For intelligence, this is the real guidance on what to focus on each day and where your business currently stands. In this system, you get a daily brief that gives you actual action items every morning, backed by your real business data. With Automate, you can essentially give an AI an SOP or teach it how to do a task, and it's going to create coded scripts on how to run that specific task for you. You can think follow-ups, onboarding, or anything else that you don't want to be doing yourself. And finally, with all of that running for you, you actually have the headspace to work on the business, and you start to imagine the time coming back to you. You'll eventually have the freedom to work on the business or just to take a breather. A quick one before we keep going. If you're getting any value from this, please hit subscribe. I post every Tuesday and Friday. But yes, I know all of this sounds interesting when I say it, but what does this actually look like in practice? I can easily draw out the framework and tell you, oh, this is a solution, but telling you isn't enough. So I'm going to show you the actual files in my workspace that I've built on my own AI operating system. And hopefully you'll see that it's not just some theory, it's my actual system that I'm running myself, and it's doing what I actually say it's doing. And so what you're seeing here is my actual workspace. You can see it's a little messy. I've got things all over the place, doesn't look super professional, and it's nothing like an enterprise setup. But I built it myself, and we're going to walk through the actual ins and outs of how I operate mine. Firstly, we're going to go to layer 1. I'm going to show my context files. And so we can scroll over to the context folder here. We can see I have a whole bunch of different files here that'll cover different things. And I've opened a few of them at the top here. This is my business info. You can see my organization overview, products and services, focus areas, some other key context, basically what my business is. Then some personal info. This is who I am, founder, sole operator, student in a AI accelerator, some background, key responsibilities, and how this workspace helps. Another one is my strategy. And so I have some strategic priorities that I want my AI to focus on with me. I want some goals and some key decisions to make here. But I've also got a whole bunch more things that tell my AI how to operate in certain circumstances and make informed decisions. Next thing is the data layer. And so we can go to my database and you can see a whole bunch of different items here. These are all the things that I choose to track. I can add or remove a whole bunch of things, and some things are just tests. So I have a scan of AI models because since I work with AI, I need to track what AI is best for which things. So that's what these first two are. I can go to my meetings. You can see all of my Fathom recordings in here to reference. I have some of my YouTube items here. Going further down as we scroll, some analytics, video retention, all that kind of stuff. The third thing is actually my intelligence layer. And so I have a Telegram bot that I can talk to my actual workspace from wherever I want to. And I can actually ask any question, any strategy, and actually start some automation through my Telegram. And so we can take a brief look at our latest daily brief, just a quick scroll through. It's got some of my numbers, what happened recently, key signals, all that kind of stuff. And if we go to my a new chat here, I can simply type in, tell me about myself and my business, and click enter. And Telegram comes back to me with that information, just as an example of how the context flows into this. And so here's some of my background, my name, my business, delivery modes, my target, where I'm at. And so you can see the first two layers actually showing up here because it's tracking my live YouTube statistics and it's pulling real context about me. The next thing on the list of an AIOS is the automations. And so we're going to take a look at our commands and skills. You can see here over on the left, these are all different commands that I can run that do different automation things within my workspace. And so we can take a look at something like, let's look at explore, for example. Explore is simply a command for me to develop out an idea for a new automation that I have, and it actually has Claude interview me, and we build out the vision together. We also can look at skills. These are just different things AI can use in helping me achieve the automations. And finally, the build layer. Yes, I've automated some of my day-to-day tasks, and it's given me the time to go and explore how to better serve my clients. And this actually includes a whole command center that I'm exploring putting on the web for hosting this for people. And so it's taking the actual ins and outs of my actual workspace. It gives me my data overview, my recent daily brief, the numbers I'm tracking. I've got all of these context files in here that I can click through and read. So if we go through the business info, it's the same stuff that I had before that I just showed you. I have my whole command center in here. So these are all my commands, and I can talk to this similarly to how I talk to my Telegram chat. I've got some activity and pipeline that I'm still working on, but since I had the time, I was able to go and create this as something that I am going to implement into my done for you service. And so I want you to notice something. I showed you my daily brief in my Telegram bot, but it actually pulling that information was reliant exactly from the two previous layers. My Telegram bot is my intelligence layer, and my intelligence layer pulled from my data layer and my context layer to gather that information. And so we can take a greater look at that. And this exact example shows you how the whole system operates. The context and the data layers tell you what's going wrong in the business. We have our strategy and our business info within the context, and the data. If the data lines are going upward, then we know that the business is doing well. And if they're going downward, the business is doing poorly, and we can adjust our strategy accordingly. That intelligence layer reads it and actually tells you what's going wrong. Since it actually knows your context and your data, you allow it to make real strategy insights and give you good action items. So when your business is doing poorly, it helps you find the fix. And when your business is doing well, it helps you find the next automation to make, which is that automation layer. The automation layer is giving you your time back by automating real tasks away. And that goes right into the build layer that helps you work on the business rather than in it. And that's exactly where I got the time to go and make that dashboard that you saw. And one last thing to drive it in, I don't actually read most of these files. I told it to interview me, so it had the files, but they're mainly meant for AI to use. Same with the coding, same with everything else. I basically talk in plain English, tell the AI how to operate, and I make the decisions, and it just asks me questions and builds for me. And so after hearing all of this, you might be thinking, all this is overwhelming, and you might never have the skill to create it. But if you think like this, you're walking yourself right into a trap. And we don't need all 5 layers to still get good results from AI. You can start just by having AI interview you and allowing it to gather context about you. The context layer is the first layer, and it's the first layer for a reason, because it's the foundation from where you build from. And you don't build it all in a day. I didn't build it all in a day, and I just started with the context layer and started building from there, and you can too. AI relies on context, and all context is basically the information on how it operates. And so you hear things online about giving it a role to perform in a certain way, like be the best marketer and you know everything about marketing. Then you give it a task, go and make me a script about whatever, and then you give it proper information on how to perform. So the script needs to be this long, and it needs to talk about these specific things. And so what about giving the entire workspace the info it needs? And that's exactly what I showed you with my AI operating system in the business context. And so that's what you need to do first. You build that context first. And similarly to what I showed you in my workspace, you can actually have AI gather that information for you and save it to yours. And from there, you can add the data layer, the intelligence layer, start making automations, and building your business. When you follow the method of stacking things on top of each other, you create a foundation and build a much more stable structure than trying to string everything together all at once. And so how do you actually build that context? Well, if you've got Claude Code or a different coding agent, you can actually start having it interview you and gathering the information for you. And so I want you to go into a new folder on your computer. I want you to label it AIOS or whatever else you want to name it. You don't need anything in there. You just need to start a new Claude Code session and point it at that folder. The first thing you're going to do is gather any relevant piece of documentation about your business and get it ready to give to Claude. And then you're going to ask it to interview you. You're going to tell it to interview you about your business, about you, about your strategy, and the current state of your business. Tell it to be thorough. Tell it to gather any information it might need to help you, and tell it to ask follow-up questions if it gets confused. Then you're going to tell it to read all of that relevant documentation and gather any context it might find from there as well. Then you're going to tell it to create a context folder within your workspace and to create individual context files for every category of information it can find. Once that's created, you're going to tell Claude to reference those files when it needs any relevant information regarding that. So that means questions that it needs answered from you, or if it wants to tell you about certain aspects of the business, to reference those first. Any information it might need about the business, it should reference that first and then come to you. And from there, once you have the context down, you can start moving to the other layers of an AIOS. So once you get to data, the prompt would be something like, hey, I want to track my business KPIs and communications. You want to ask it to help you set up scheduled jobs to pull all relevant data that you want to track into a database on your machine. Then you want to do the similar question for all the communication parts of it. So you have numbers and communications. It's a similar thing where I want to pull my Slack messages and my Fathom recordings to my machine every day and store them in the same database. From there, for your intelligence, you ask it to set you up a Telegram bot so you can communicate with Claude about business information strategy. Basically, each layer, you simply ask Claude how to set it up. You can even find other YouTube references and upload it directly so Claude can understand, and do this all in plain English, building as you keep going. But now you know what an AI operating system actually is. You've seen all 5 layers, and you've seen mine running, and you know what the first move is, starting with your context. If you got something out of this video, subscribe. I'm building new tools in mine in public, a new video every Tuesday and Friday, and I'm curious what's the one task that you'd hand off tomorrow if you knew the system could handle it. Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching.